Welcome to Real Estate Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters, sharing proven strategies to help you build a better business today. And here is your host, Keith Doherty.
Hello and welcome to this episode of our show. This is your host, Keith Doherty. Today our special guests are realtors Roy Blume and Irene Truong of Blume-Truong Real Estate Group based out of Sierra Madre, California. Roy and Irene co-founded the Blume-Truong Real Estate Group 5 years ago. They are referral-based and handle residential real estate transactions such as first-time home buyers, probate and trust, estate and luxury homes, as well as commercial and investment real estate. They are both very active in their local realtor boards, as well as the state level and the National Association of Realtors. They started real estate during the worst downturn and had many naysayers along the way. They go above and beyond with each of their clients, and that's how they've earned the tagline, "It's what we do," by their peers and clients. They both earned the CIPS designation from the NAR. Roy is the current president of his AOR, the Arcadia Association of Realtors, and a state director for the California Association of Realtors. Irene is on the board of directors at the Arcadia Association of Realtors, as well as chairing committees. Roy and Irene, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If we could start, I guess, why don't we start with Irene? We'll let ladies go first here, Roy, but if you could kind of tell us what led you into real estate. Was it something that you always wanted to do, or did you kind of stumble into it?
Well, it was a flexibility since I had small kids, and I also wanted a career with an opportunity to grow financially.
Excellent. And Roy?
My story's a little different. I was the vice president of a retail chain on the West Coast when it fell victim to the recession in 2008. One of my colleagues talked me into getting my real estate license so we could do some investing and kind of know the ins and the outs. I actually never imagined myself in the industry.
Yeah, it's rather interesting. I do a lot of interviews with real estate and realtors like yourself, and it seems like everybody I've talked to, I don't think one person ever has said, well, yeah, when I was 6, I dreamed of being a realtor. You know, just for some reason, it's probably one of the most lucrative careers, but it doesn't seem to be on anybody's radar, you know, that they're really shooting for it.
Exactly.
So, you know, if we'll go with Irene here. What personal attributes or traits or qualities do you think have most contributed to your success, and how do you think you've developed these?
Well, it was our business skills, an entrepreneurial mindset, and I have an HR background, which helped me to negotiate deals, and it was the networking and the listening skills.
Excellent. And yourself, Roy?
Irene also has a degree in business, which she failed to state there. I was in corporate America for about 30 years. Like I said, I ran a major retailer for quite a long time. And so one of the things in retail that obviously you learn is treating customers, how to put them first. So just bringing that naturally over to real estate was a no-brainer. Social skills, and probably the biggest attribute, I think, is our never-give-up attitude. We started this business when everybody was looking at us like we're not as good at the job. And here we are, in 2010, I believe, is when I got my license, and Irene was licensed in 2009 when real estate was just on the, at the worst. And, so we just kept going. We didn't know any better, and we kept doing everything that our mentors and our trainers told us to do. And then we kind of, took our business to we carved our own niche after that.
Excellent. And do you guys think you could give maybe some specific examples of when your traits have actually played a role towards your path towards success?
Just having patience in dealing with first-time home buyers, because we start them from the housing search to the escrow process, so basically hand-holding and listening.
Yeah. I guess I can jump in here, Keith. The education process. One of the things that we do with all of our clients, whether they be investors with, multifamily or commercial and such, is we actually take them through the entire process and give them expectations. Irene mentioned patience, and I always talk about persistence. We have this we never give up attitude. A lot of times we somehow gain clients that other agents give up on, whether it be probate or, the first-time buyer that just can't get an offer in and things like that, and it's a challenge to us. And so we never give up, and we're very successful at it. and that's how we earn a lot of the referral business that we have, is that we always somehow find a home or make a deal happen when most people say, oh, it's not going to happen.
Excellent. Yeah, and I think that, like you said, you kind of carved this niche out where a lot of people might not want to go the extra mile, and I think they want to cherry pick the deal per se, like you said, whereas you're working with people that might be in a little bit different situation, that they might need a little more hand-holding or more education, or it takes a little more patience to get them to the finish line versus a straightforward deal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So as you guys have kind of built up, what you had and the success that you've had, what are some of the major adversities and trials that you've had to overcome to achieve your goals?
Not enough capital for marketing, because when you get a listing, everything is you take up front for a photographer, to printing out their brochures, and also with buyers, because you spend all your money on gas, and then you don't get paid until you close a deal. And that could be like anywhere from 3 to 6 months or maybe a year.
I think that obviously when you started, we're not just agents or realtors. We're in a business for ourselves. So we have to watch the cash flow and such. And when you do close a deal and you have some cash, it goes right to the next listing. I mentioned earlier we do some luxury estates, and that clientele expects video and drones and things like that, and that's not free. That comes out, and you also run the risk of, gee, what if it doesn't sell? I just spent, a couple of grand on a party, for a broker's open. So that's definitely one of the big issues. But one of the issues I've always had is when I first started this business, is people always ask that number one question. I think that's because that's what buyers and sellers get taught to ask the agent, how long you've been in the business. And, well, as realtors, we're held to the high ethics. We don't lie. I remember my first deal. I'm middle-aged. I've got gray hair, and not a deal, but I went on a listing appointment. And, I'm doing my stuff, and I'm showing her all the comps, and she just says, how long have you been in the business? And so, I sat down, and I thought, well, I'm not going to lie. So I said, well, ma'am, you're going to be the first client, but I guarantee you my office, before you can tell her where my office was and how the support team worked, she walked me to the door. So anyway, the dye out of my hair, I had dyed my hair just to get a little younger looking and, maybe have an edge. It kind of wore out after a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks or so, and I went on my second listing appointment, and, that question came up almost right off the bat. And I sat and I told her, I said, you know what, when I started this business, I had black hair. Of course, now I'm back to gray. She hired us right away.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, you didn't lie.
I didn't lie, and that's when I tell the story. Like, I didn't lie. I had black hair when I started, or tried to start my first listing, and now I'm back to gray. What's amazing right now, Keith, is when people find out that we've only been licensed for 5 or 6 years, and where we've come, and with the board, with the association volunteering, with our success, we teach classes at the board. People don't understand. They go, "You've only been in this business 5 years," and that scares that doesn't scare people. It just shocks people.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys kind of seem to have the you don't give up attitude. So what keeps you guys going despite you get obstacles and why don't you could have easily went on a few of those appointments as people walk you out and you kind of get the nose, right? And why didn't you give up? Why did you guys keep pushing forward?
It's not our DNA. We're business owners, so we just keep plugging away.
I've been in, like I said, in retail for 30 years, give or take. When I started out in this business, or in any business, my parents instilled in me, don't give up, keep going. You're going to fail here and there, and we've had our failures, but we look at that as education. I said earlier, education with our buyers and our sellers and such. We're not going to get the first offer, and we're not going to, there's an escrow that's going to fall apart, and it has.
We always think outside the box.
But yeah, we do think outside the box. A couple of years ago, when you could not get an offer in, when real estate just took off, through education, we learned a step called the escalation clause or escalator clause. And we worked with one of our deals, and what that is, it's a built-in counter, so to speak, with a cap. And we got a deal accepted instantly. And then I shared it with a colleague because he was having the same issue, he couldn't get a deal accepted, and I said, well, try this, and it worked. So, there's always some way, somehow it's going to happen, and we don't give up.
Excellent. And kind of looking forward, I guess, so you guys you've done quite a bit in a short time. Like you said, people are surprised that you've only had, your 5 years. But what do you think your vision is for the business, say, over the next 5 years?
I see us more involved with global business. There's a lot of transactions that are coming from overseas, and we'd like to increase that business. And Roy and I just recently got our CIPS designation from NAR, and that gives us more of an edge to work with international buyers.
One of the things that I learned in the business right away, maybe it's a Napoleon Hill thing, find a millionaire and do exactly what he does. It's not exactly the quote, but it's pretty popular. We sought out a top agent in our office, and I asked him, I said, why are you always number one? And he said, well, I network like crazy, and I belong to BNI. Are you familiar with BNI, Keith?
Yeah, the business network or something like I know what it is, but yeah.
Yeah, so, I found a chapter, and, I signed up, and that has just been so instrumental in the type of business we do. We are, I think Irene mentioned we're referral-based, almost 100%, from sphere of influence or BNI or networking. And so what we plan on doing is, I'm heavily involved in the BNI organization as well. I'm an ambassador, and I'm on their executive board of advisors, which gives us it's a global network source. And so with that CIPS designation that we just earned from NAR, we're making relationships. My roots are from Holland, so my parents are from there. And so we have already started making relationships in Holland with relatives and other professionals to help them, California, who doesn't want to have a vacation home here or retire here? Europeans go on holiday 6 times a year, so a lot of them have homes here. So that's part of what we're trying to do and establish and get our foot in the door. But, in the next 5 years, we see our business just continue to increase, a little bit more commercial and investment, and help everybody that we can.
Excellent. And I think you kind of touched upon this, but we'll throw it out there and maybe kind of wrap it all up into one question. But, what do you feel the best way that you guys continue to market yourself? And it sounds like that's a referral base. Do you do anything outside of that, maybe, so you can obviously continually grow? You talked about the international and the referral base. Do you guys do any other forms of marketing?
Like right now, the radio interviews. That's another form of marketing.
That was a line that probably didn't go as well as it should have. The punch wasn't there, but basically, by doing more radio shows, getting our name out, we get global referrals, and I guess I did touch on that, not just through BNI, but also being on NER. We serve on committees. We attend all the trade shows. We're getting ready to go to Sacramento, and then I'll be in D.C. with NER, I think, in May. For courses, classes, and meetings and such. But, building that referral network is unbelievable. We'll get a call. We've relocated 2 people from the East Coast to California already, just by being online in a kind of a global sense. But I would imagine we'll just keep doing what we do. It's worked so far. We volunteer our time in the community quite a bit. And also, like I said, we teach classes at the Arcadia Association of Realtors. So I think the more people see that from us, they call us and give us referrals. A lot of times, because we do some commercial, a lot of residential agents don't know how to do commercial. We don't recommend that they do. We'd rather give them a referral fee and then take on the commercial, deal, and everybody wins.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what you said there is what you're kind of doing is it seems like you're always, and I think what it centers around from what you've said is just kind of serving people, whether it's in the community, whether it's volunteering, whether it's, helping other people, and that seems like it's just growing itself, which I think it's a great way to build your business, that you're just attracting people, right? But people are referring you and you're attracting people because you're helping others and you're continually doing the right thing.
Exactly.
So I think there's sometimes a lot of misconceptions when it comes to working with an agent. Some people I think might just assume that they can, selling a house can't be that hard. I'll just put a sign up. Maybe I'll throw an ad in a local penny saver. I'll do it myself. They don't realize all the legal ramifications and all the paperwork and everything an agent really brings to the table. So what do you think the biggest misconception or myth that people have about working with a real estate agent is?
I'll let Irene take the first one.
That would be that we make too much money, and they don't know what's involved in the transaction, and they think, like you said earlier, that just put up a sign up. But there's a lot more behind the scenes that we do, and also they think that local agents only sell their home.
Most people are right now, and I'm not going to put anybody down the third-party sites such as Zillow and Trulia and all those. They're great for a lot of information. But they're not always accurate, and I'm sure everybody knows that. And so a lot of times what will happen, and it just adds credibility to what we do, is we'll have, sometimes buyers will call us, we're in the middle of a search, and say, I found this new property. I'd love to go see it. Can you schedule an appointment? Of course, we'll go to the MLS. We'll punch it up off of the information on Zillow, and, that sold 3 months ago. Or that's, a short sale, or that's nothing, doesn't meet your criteria. And, they start to wonder, well, what is that site for? It's like, it doesn't matter. That site's there for a lot of reasons. You've got great demographics and some other, area information. But what an agent can do, what a realtor does, is we have the up-to-date information. Every 15 minutes it's updated on the MLS. We give you accurate information. We give you the status. And then when we not only, a lot of buyers will go to a house by themselves and think, I talked to the agent, I can get a better deal going direct. Well, that agent is still, his primary fiduciary responsibility is to the seller. So if you're a buyer and you're trying to talk to a listing agent, he's thinking of double-ending it or she's thinking of double-ending it. We've never double-ended. We don't do that. We represent one side only, and we represent them all the way, whether it's asking for repairs or counseling on negotiated prices and things like that. We actually go to the table. Irene mentioned earlier, we have this tagline, it's what we do. And that was given to us by our peers and our clients because we actually go to signings when no one else does, whether it's escrow signing or doc signing. We've gone and helped them at the city with permits and things like that, where a lot of agents won't do that. They just, here you go, do you like the house? It's right up the deal. We're a little bit more detailed. And so, again, a misconception from most people out there, especially when they're selling, is you make too much, I'm not going to pay you, whatever percent. And it's like, well, if you don't want to pay us, that's fine. We're selective. We don't work, we interview the clients as well as they interview us. And we've turned down a lot of situations because they're not realistic. They want a price that's higher than the most updated house in their neighborhood, even though they've never done anything to the home. And they just think because Zillow says my house is worth $600,000. Well, look at the comps. That's what you really have to go by.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that a lot of people realize everything that's involved, like you said, and even you mentioned earlier about just the marketing aspect, to have the photographs and potentially the drone pictures or the open houses and all that kind of stuff. It all takes gas and time and money to be able to facilitate a true marketing plan to sell a house. And I don't think sometimes people don't realize all that goes into it. And you would have to invest that out of pocket for something, like you said, that maybe it won't sell. I mean, not everything potentially could sell.
That's true. If I can give you a quick example, we had a listing appointment in a really high, high-end area down here, and it was in a gated, guarded community, $1 million homes. But this was a special home. It had a 16-car garage for a car collector and a 7,000 square foot tri-level Mediterranean home. He had it on the market with an agent for a year. That was the local agent. And, kind of going back to misconceptions, a lot of people think, well, if you don't work my city, you don't know what's going on. Well, he had retained an agent from up there. It was on the market a year. Again, the highlight of this property was a 16-car Jay Leno garage, with lifts, and you could park 2 motorhomes in it, and it was incredible. And, tools and all that stuff. In the listing that he had prior, he had 30 pictures of the home and the grounds and the pools and oasis. It was beautiful. one picture of the garage with a caption that read, "Custom car not included." So as we went on this listing appointment, I'm a car guy. I got kind of excited by the garage, not really the house itself. And I mentioned to him, we're going to have a broker's open, but we're going to have a car show. And again, that's thinking outside the box. So here's this multi-million-dollar property. We have a car show. We invite all the guys, and we went to Hemmings, looked up where all the local car shows were out here, invited car collectors because we needed cars. So we had about 16 classic cars of people that we knew, but I mean, these things were magazine cars, showroom cars. And then we just had, it catered and all that stuff. But it brought us a buyer, and the buyer that bought that house had a $250,000 Porsche that he kept in an airplane hangar because he didn't want to keep it at home. So, he kind of bought the house for the car, so to speak. But those are kind of some of the things that we do outside the box, and we did sell it pretty close to what we were looking for, and it didn't take us a year, but what interested most of the other agents around us that we came all the way from Pasadena to do this.
Yeah, I think what you said there was great, is that you kind of went outside the box, like you said, and even from not even highlighting one of the key focal points of the house, which you think would be the draw, which is actually what ended up selling the house, right, at the end of the day.
Exactly.
And the other agent kind of just kind of passed that off.
Exactly.
So this kind of like a hypothetical. So let's say that you get a call from a family member in another state. They want to sell their home. What advice would you give them to help them best select an agent, kind of serve their needs, kind of like you guys take care of your people? What would you tell them to? What would they do? What should they look for? What are the kind of things that they need to look for?
What I would look for is, definitely interview different candidates. The qualities that you're looking for is, are you full-time or part-time? We're full-time, Keith. We don't do anything else. We don't work at the supermarket during the day and then at night show a house or two and what have you, like others. And, I mean, there's a place for that, I guess. But if you're looking to make the most expensive purchase in your life or sell the biggest asset that you own, you want a professional that's got some history. It doesn't have to be in the neighborhood. It just has to be a history of success. One of the things you can do is call your local real estate realtor board and ask, who's on your board that does well, who doesn't have any violations or complaints or grievances, things like that. You can look us up. If you went to Google and Google Blume-Truong Real Estate, we're, of course, all over the page, and we've got all these different accolades and such. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for someone that's done something that's maybe has clients or testimonials that they can actually talk to. All of our testimonials or client referrals are available to speak to future clients to actually give a real written or a verbal testimony.
The other thing is, since we network with CAR and AR, we know agents around the state and across the country. So we can also refer another agent. So we were into the agent, and then when we see that agent fit our client, then we refer them to our client that's out of state.
Yeah, that's an excellent point that Irene brought up that I completely forgot about. Irene had a client, family member, actually in the Bay Area, San Francisco. We're down here in L.A. And so, the question was, hey, how do I find a good agent? We actually interviewed the agents down here when they were down here at a trade show, and met with them and checked the references and such, and it was a win-win. I mean, honest guy, a great agent, knew his stuff, happened to be a difficult transaction, so we were really looking for not just somebody to put a sign in the yard.
Actually, someone that would do the care that we would do.
Yeah, I think that's great that, you helped them do that, and you're able to find somebody that, could really take care of them and service their needs like they need. So if somebody wants to find out more about you, you mentioned about you guys in your group, you mentioned Google and such. What's the best way that somebody can find out about Roy and Irene and how you guys can help them?
Well, they can call me at 626-321-7468, or they can call Roy at 626-786-4011, or go visit our website at blumeproperties.com.
That's BLUME properties.com. Or like I mentioned earlier, if you just go to Google and type in Blume-Truong Real Estate, you'll get our every entry, anything that's online about us, what we do, how we do it, who we've done it for, and things like that. But with the internet, that is a good thing because you don't need to go to the Yellow Pages anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to obviously thank both of you for taking time out of your schedule to come and share your business experience with our listeners here today. And if anybody wants to learn more about Roy and Irene, you can go visit their site, like I said, bloomproperties.com. And we'll also have a link below this interview. We'll link to their website as well as we'll get their phone numbers that they mentioned so that you can easily reach out and make contact with them. So with that said, everybody, until our next show, have a great day, and we'll talk to you all soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Real Estate Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading real estate industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at realestateinnovatorsradio.com today.